Hey everyone, welcome back to HM Coding Studio. Today we'll learn how to build this BMI calculator with amazing custom dialogs and suggestions from the very beginning up to the end, and also we'll teach you how to build the APK file of the application and how to publish the application into the Play Store, and we will guide you step by step from the very beginning up to the end. So if you are not a subscriber, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos and projects that are coming. Okay guys, let's start building our application. First of all, what we need to do is create a new project and then select an empty activity. Next, and after that you need to give the application name and also the package name. One thing that I want to mention is that the package name is very important, because when we want to publish our application on the Play Store, the package name should be unique. If the package name is not unique, then we cannot publish our application in the Play Store. So for that reason, you need to make sure that you select a package name that is unique to you, and that package name has been not used in the Play Store. Okay, first of all, let us give the application name. We will say that our application name will be a BMI calculator, and also for the package name, let's say that we're going to change the package name. We will say HM Coding Studio, and this will be our package name. And also, if you want to change your location, your application location, you can change it from here. We're gonna leave it as it is, and we select the language Java. And if you want to change the minimum SDK, you can change it from here. We will select the API level 19 KitKat, and then finish. Now it will take some time to Android Studio will build our project. Now the first thing we need to do is to build our application UI. For that, let's go to the activity main.xml, and in here click on the split so we can see the design and also the coding screen at the same time. Remove the text view from here. But before starting to design our UI, what we need to do is we will go to our teams and we will remove our main action bar. For that, go to the values. From values, go to teams, and in here double click on teams, and in here from door action menu you just need to change it to no action bar, and that is all. Okay, come back to activity main.xml, and in here we will start building our UI for our application. The first thing we need to do is to create a linear layout, match parent, and also for the height, for now we will say that the height will be 0 dp, and we're going to change the height of the linear layout based on the percentage of screen. As you can see, we have some errors. And the reason is that we have created our linear layout, but we haven't constrained that linear layout to our main activity. For that, what we need to do is to constrain or position our linear layout inside our main activity. Okay, double click on it, and as you can see, the start of the linear layout is constrained to the start of the parent, and we're gonna also constrain the end of the linear layout to the end of the parent. And also we're gonna constrain the top of linear to the top of parent. You can also use coding. What we need to say is the layout constraint top to the top of parent, and as you can see, the error is removed. Now let's also give a background and a padding to our main activity on main screen, and for that what we need to say is the background. And for our color, and we're gonna give a gray screen to a gray background to our screen, and also we're gonna add padding to our main screen, padding of 8 dp. let's give our lean layout a percentage. For that, what we need to do is to say that our constraint height percentage, or we simply percentage and constraint height percentage, we give a percentage of 0.36, as you can see. Since we are using the linear layout, we need to specify the orientation for our linear layout. For that orientation, we say that our orientation is horizontally, and also we're gonna give an ID to our linear layout, ID, and we say the ID is a linear layout. Now inside our linear layout, we're gonna add our two card views, which will be displaying the age and weight of the user. And for that, we're gonna create two card views. In here we will give a weight of 0 dp to an height of match parent. Now we're gonna add a weight to our card view, and we give the value of 1, and this will ensure that the space inside our main screen will be divided equally between our two card views inside the linear layout. And also we're gonna add elevation, and also we're gonna add the chord radius. For that, we say that the chord elevation is equals to 8 dp, and also we're gonna add radius to our card view, and we're gonna add a radius of 8 dp to our card view. And after that, we need to give the margin to our card view, and we will give the start margin, end margin, and bottom margin. For that, we say that the start margin is equals to 8 dp, and we're gonna add end margin to our card view, and we'll say simply that this would be 16 dp, and also we're gonna add a bottom margin of 8 dp. And as you can see, our card layout is created. Now we're gonna create another card view in the same way. So for that, we just copy the codes and paste it below our first card view. As you can see, and a card view is created. And in here, we're gonna remove the start margin, decrease the end margin to 8 dp. And now that our application UI upper part is finished, let's create the middle part and bottom part, and also our button for our application. And for that, you need to come below the linear layout, and in here we need to create another card view, and we're gonna do the same thing for our middle card view. We'll get a weight of match parent, and in here we're gonna give it an height of 0 dp. And since we are using constraint layout, we need to position our card view inside the main screen. We need to give an ID to our card view, and we simply say that it would be middle card view, middle card. And after that, we need to give margin of top bottom. We give a margin bottom of 18 dp, and also a margin top of 8 dp. And we need to give the chord elevation and also the radius for our chord, and we give an elevation of 8 dp, and also a radius of 8 dp. sorry, this is card elevation of 8 dp. We need to add percentage for our middle card view, and we're gonna give a percentage of 0.27, and after that we need to constraint our card view. Start, we constrain the start of the card view to the start of parent, the end of card view to the end of parent, and also we're going to constrain the top of card view to the below of our linear layout. As you can see, it perfectly positioned below our linear layout. And after that, what we need to do is to create our bottom card view. And we create a card view, and we give a match weight of match parent and also an ID of 0 dp. We're gonna add an ID to our bottom card view, bottom card. We're gonna need to add the margin to our card view. We're gonna add a margin top of 16 dp, margin top of 16 dp. And also we need to add the card elevation and corner radius of our card view. We're gonna add the card elevation of 8 dp. That simply will put a shadow below our card view, which will display nicely. And we need to add the corner radius of 8 dp. Now let's create a percentage of our card view. Constraint I percentage, we're gonna add a percentage of 0.2, and we need to position this card view below our middle card view. For that, top to the bottom of our middle card, we need to constrain the start and end of our card view. And the last thing we need to do is to add the calculate button below our bottom card. And for that, we will create an app compact button, simply because the app compact button is more flexible than a button, so that's why we're gonna use the app compact button. We're gonna add a weight of 200 dp and an ID of a wrap contain. We're gonna add an ID to our button, calculate button. We're gonna add a text to our button. Calculate. As you can see, the text in the button is displaying in all uppercase, so in order to change that, there is a property inside the XML, all caps, text all caps, and we need to make it false. And as you can see, it's changed. Now let's constrain our button below our bottom layout. This time we're gonna use the design view feature. So for that, let's go to the design, and in here you need to constrain the top of button to the bottom of the bottom card, end of the button to the end of the parent, and also the start of the button is constrained to the start of parent. Now let's go to our code. In here you can remove this warning by suppressing the warning. Now let's give a margin to our button, top margin 8 dp, and also for the background of our button, we will go to our drawable folder. in here we were gonna create a background for our button. For that, right click on the drawable, new, and create a new drawable resource file. We're gonna call this file to calculate button background, and then OK. Change the selector to shape. We're gonna add a color of let's say let's choose from the custom, and in here we're gonna choose this color. We're gonna add corner radius to our buttons background, a radius of let's say 10 dp, and come back to activity main.xml and the app compact button. The background of our app compact button equals to calculate button background. As you can see, the button's background is changed nicely. Now let's create the elements inside our car view. For that, we will create a relative layout inside our first car view, and the reason is that we cannot add more than one element inside our car view. For that, we create a layout manager inside our car view, and then we will add our elements inside the layout. Give a weight of match parent and also an height of match parent to our relative layout. We need to add our elements inside our relative layout. The first thing we need to add is a text view, and the weight equal to match parent and height wrap contain. We give an ID to our text view, and we give an ID of age title. We're gonna add a padding to our text view of 8 dp. We add the text, and we need to suppress the warning, and after that we need to align the text in the center of the card. So for that, gravity and center. We need to change the color. We give a black color, and also we need to change the size of our text. We give a text size of 15 sp. Now we are done with our text view, and now let's add our second text view. For that, what we do is simply copy our text view and then paste, and we need to change the ID, and we give an ID of age, and we need to change the text. For now, let's say we give a text of 30, and also we need to change the text size. We give a text size of 30 sp, and the style would be bold. Text style would be bold. Position our text view below our age title. Now let's add our buttons for changing the age, and we will use this buttons to add or increase or decrease the age value. And for that, first of all, we need to go to drawable, and we need to create a new vector asset. Create a new vector asset from here. Let's take this icon, okay, and change the name. I see add, and change the color. We choose next, and then finish. And also we need to add another icon for our subtracting or decreasing our value. Go to drawable, new, and then the same way vector asset, and from here remove circle or decrease circle, and we change the name to remove. Next, and then finish. Now let's create our buttons below the H. For that we will add compact button. We will give a weight and height of 60 dp, and we position our button below the H. We give a background of drawable IC remove, and after that what we need to do is give a margin. We will add a margin start of 8 dp, and also a margin top of, let's say, 16 dp. And in the same way we will add our second compact button. For that, just copy and paste, Ctrl V, and then we need to position this to the end of our card. And for that, what we need to do is align parent end and true. As you can see, it's aligned, and we need to change the margin start to margin end 8 dp. That's cool. And also we need to change the background from IC remove to IC add. And now we are done with our first card view, and we're gonna do the same thing for our second card. For that, we just copy our relative layout, Ctrl C, and we're gonna add this to our second card. And in here we need to change the text. The first thing we need to change is the title. Instead of H title, weight title, and in here instead of H we will change it to weight. And this text view will be below the weight title, and also we change this. And also for the second compact button, and we need to change the text. For that we need to go to in here, weight in kilograms, and also the setting text view, let's say 200, to change the value, which is the default value for that. And as you can see, we are done with our second card view. And now let's add our elements of our second card view. For that we need to create a relative layout inside our second card view. We give an height of match parent and also a weight of match parent. And inside our second card view we will have two text view and a seekbar for changing values of the height of the user. First of all, we need to create a text view, and the text view will have a weight of a wrap content and also an height of wrap content. We give an ID of height, and we need to change the color. black, and also text. For text we will give the text of height, and in the text size we give a text size of 26 sp, and we need to suppress the warning. And after that we need to center our text view. For that, center parent horizontally, true, and it will horizontally center our text inside the relative layout. Now let us add our second text view, and the same way we give a width and height of wrap contain, add an ID of height value, sorry we have missed an ID here, height value, and after that we need to change the color and also size of our text view. We give a size of 32 sp, and a color of black, and for the now we give a text 0 centimeters, and we suppress the warning. And after that we need to center our text view, and we will align below the title of art. We need to give a margin of top. We will have 16 dp top margin, and that's better. And the last thing we need to do inside our second card view is to add our sequence for changing the height value, and we're gonna use the compact sequence. We give a weight of match parent and height of wrap contain. We give an ID of sigbar, and also we need to align our sigbar below our height value. And also we need to give a margin of 8 dp. Now that's better, and we are done with our second card view. Now let's go to the third card view. Before going to our third card view, let's add a margin to our sigbar, margin top. Let's give a margin top of 8 dp, maybe 16 dp. That's better. Now let's jump to our third card view. Inside the third card view, what we need to do is to create a relative layout. We give a weight and height of match parent, and inside our last card view we will add our text view and our switch for gender. Okay, first thing we need to do is to add a text view. We will give a weight of a wrap contain and also an height of wrap contain. We give an ID of gender, and the text would be gender. Suppress the warning. Give a text size of 26 sp and a text color of black. and we need to center, and for that center horizontal equals to true. We need to, now we're gonna add our second text, and for that we can create a text view. We're gonna give a wrap content and also height of wrap content. We give an ID of IM for now, a text of IM, which simply refers to the user. We suppress the warning. We give a padding of 8 dp, and also we need to change the text size. We add the text size of 42 dp, and the text color would be black. We need to change the dp to sp, sorry for that. And in here we need to align our text view with the bottom of our card view. Parent bottom true. Now let's align it, and now let's add our text view. We're gonna add a width and height of wrap content. We give an ID of female. We're gonna add a padding of 16 dp. The text would be female, press the warning, and the text size would be 18 sp. Text color would be black, and we need to align this text view to the IM text view. For that, to end of IM, and we need to align to the parent bottom, which is our card view. Parent bottom true. Now it's better. And after that, what we need to do is to add our switch compact. We're gonna give a weight of, let's say, 70 dp, and a weight of wrap content. And after that, what we need to do is to give an ID to our switch. ID, add an ID. We give an ID of gender switch. We need to align to the parent bottom. For that, align parent bottom true, and also we need to align with the end of the female text view. For that, to the end of female. Now that's better, and we need to give a padding of 16 dp. And now that's better. And the last thing we need to do is to add the male choice text view. For that, text view, wrap content weight, and also the height would be wrap content. We give an ID male. We change the text color to black. We change the text to male. The text size would be 18 sp, and we need to align our text view. Parent bottom true, and also we need to align to the end of the switch. For that, to end of the gender switch, and we need a padding of 16 dp, and we are done. Now that our design is completed, we will start coding our application. The first thing we need to do is to add click listener to our increase and decrease button, so that when we click on the increase or decrease buttons, it changes the values of each inside the age code. And also we're gonna add the click listener to our weight code, while when we click on the add or sub button, it will change the value of the weight. For that, let's go to our app compact button. In here, create an on click attribute, and we will call a method when we click to this button, and we call this method decrease age. And also the same way we're gonna add another on click listener to our increase button, and for that on click we create the method increase age. Now let's create this method. Inside our main activity. For that, just click on this icon and then create increase age inside our main activity, and this method is created inside our main activity. And also go back to activity main.xml, and also we will create the decrease age and then create this. After that, what we need to do is to get a reference for our age, and then we gonna add the listeners to that, that when we click on it, it will change the value of age. For that, let's go to our main activity. Inside the main activity, private text view, and we name it age. And then inside our on create method, we will find this age text view, or instantiate this text view. Age equals to find view by id r.id.age, since we have already given an id of age to our text view, as you can see. And in the same way, we're gonna get the reference of our weight value. As you can see, it has an id of 8. So go to the main activity. Inside the main activity, private text view, and we say weight, and in here instantiate the weight. Weight equals to find view by id r.id.weight. Now that we have referenced our age and weight, let's complete our click listeners. So first of all, what we need to do is to check that the age value is greater than 0. For that, if age dot get text dot to string. Now to change this string to integer, what we need to do is to parse this string to integer. For that, integer dot parse int, and then we check that if this value is greater than 0, then we would perform our action. For that, we can perform this action in a simple one line of code, and we can do it in a much more detailed way. For that, let's say that int age value equals to, and so we need to copy all of it, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and then we add one value to it. Now to add or to update the value of the age, we need to convert this int value back to a string. For that, let's get the age dot set text, and for that string dot value of, and then we pass the age value. And in the same way, we gonna add the other method, which is for the decreasing the value, and in here instead of 0 we give 1 value, and in the decrease, instead of adding 1 to our age, we will decrease 1 from the age, and that is done. Now in the same way, we're gonna add click listener to our weight. For that, let's go to the activity main.xml. Let's add on click events to our patterns. In here, on click, and then we say decrease weight, and also another on click to our compile button, and which is increase the weight. And let's create this method inside our main activity by clicking on this icon, and then create the increase weight inside the main activity. And in the same way, in here click, and then create decrease weight. The process is the same, just all you need to do is to copy this value, copy this lines of code, Ctrl C, and then paste it in here. We change the age to weight, and then in here, instead of age value, we change it to weight value, and also we need to change this, and also this, and we need to set this value to the weight, to our weight text view, and weight.setText string.value of the weight. And in the same way, we gonna copy this line of code, and we add to the decrease method, decrease weight, and in here we need to change this from 0 to 1, and from +1 to -1. Let's go to add an event listener to our sequel. So while we are dragging our sequel, the value of our id would be changing. For that, let's create or instantiate our sequel inside our main activity, private, and since we are using an app compact sequel, in here also we need to add the app compact. sequel, we name it sequel, and inside the onCreate method we instantiate it. sequel equals to find view bar id r.id.sequel, and in here we need to add event listener to our sequel. There are two ways that we can add event listener to our sequel. The first one would be to add event listener to our sequel directly inside our onCreate method, but it will get messy. For that reason, we will create the event listener of the sequel outside our onCreate method, private, on sequel change listener. We make an object of the on sequel change listener, we name it listener, which is equals to a new on sequel change listener, and it would automatically create this method. We need to terminate this statement by semicolon, and for now we really doesn't need these two methods. The only method we are interested for now is the on progress change, and we need to pass this listener to our sequel. And after that, inside our sequel, we need to set the text of our id based on the progress of our sequel. For that, what we need to do is to create an reference of this text view, which is the id value, inside the main activity. For that, private text view, height value, and then we instantiate it inside onCreate method. Height value equals to find view by id, that id dot height value dot set text, and since the progress value is an integer, so for that what we need to do is to change the value of the seek bar from integer to string dot value of progress, which is this integer, and also go to the main activity main.xml and go to the seek bar, and the seek bar, what we need to do is to add the max value of our seek bar and also the progress. Let's say that we add a progress value of 150, which is the default value, and also let's give a max value of 300 for our seek bar, which would be the 3 meters for the max height, and for that max let's say 300. And also guys, you need to define the max value first, and then after that you need to add the progress value. Now it's working fine. Now let's go to our main activity, and in here we are done with our seek bar, and in here let's add our onClick event to our calculate button, and create the onClick attribute, and then we will create a method in here, show result, and then we create this show result method inside our activity main activity, and in here what we need to do is to get the value of the age, the weight, the height, and also gender, and based on that we will use a formula to calculate the BMI for our user. So let's go to the here, and inside the show result method we create an int variable get age, which is equals to, we need to get the age value, integer dot pass int, and we have the age dot get text dot to string, and also we need to get the weight value, which is equals to integer dot pass int, and then in here weight dot get text and dot to string, and also we need to get the height value, which is equals to integer dot pass int, and then let's go to the in here, as you can see we have height value, so height value, I need to change this variable name instead of height value, get height, because we already defined that variable. So height value dot get text dot to string, and after we get the value of height, since the value is coming in centimeters, we need to convert it to meters, since we're going to use the meter of the height, and for that we need to divide the centimeter that's coming from the height value to 100, so we will have the height in meters. Now that we have our weight and height, we use a simple formula to calculate the BMI or body mass index. So the formula for the body mass index is like this: int BMI equals to body mass in kilograms, which is the weight value divided by the height value into the power of 2. So for the simplicity, what we will do is to just multiply the height into the height, which will give the power of our height in meters. Now that we have our BMI, let's show the result of our BMI inside a custom dialog view. For that, let's create a custom dialog view. For that, what we need to do is to create another method, and we call this method show BMI, and then we pass our BMI value, and then click on this and then create this method. Now that we have our BMI, let's create this custom dialog inside this method. Okay guys, since our video is getting very long, we'll create the custom dialog very quickly, and for that what we need to do is to I will copy and paste this line of code in from here, and I'll explain this what this line of code is doing. In here all the entire will import this class, and that will solve the error. And we need to create a custom dialog. For that, what we need to do is to go to the layout, right click, new, and create a new layout resource file, and we can call it the custom dialog, and then okay. Inside the custom dialog, what we need to do is to just change the layout to linear layout, and after that what we need to do is to copy and paste this line of code, and then we need to give an orientation for our linear layout, orientation vertical, and then also we need to change the layout height to from match pattern to wrap content, and we are done in here. Now let's go to our main activity, and we will explain what we are doing in here. First of all, we are creating a view group, and find view by ID and android.all.id.contain, and after that we are creating a view from our custom dialog, and view equals to layout inflator dot from, this is our contain, and then on inflate or that layout that custom dialog, and we pass the view group to our inflator, and also we give to false value for attached to the root. And after that, since we are having a OK button inside our custom dialog, we will get a reference for that, and come to main activity. In here, app compact button equals to find view by view, and for view find view by ID r.id.ok, and we are creating an alert dialog builder. Alert dialog builder equals to new alert dialog builder, and we pass the context, and then we set the view to our builder or alert dialog builder to set view to the view. Now after that we need to create an alert dialog from our builder, and alert dialog equals to builder.create, and then alert dialog.show, and that's all. After that we need to add an event listener to our OK button inside our custom view. OK, that's it, and click listener, and then on click we will simply dismiss our alert dialog. Now that we are done with our coding, and until now, let's check that our application is working fine and there is no errors. Let's build our application. Okay, the application is launched, Let's see. As you can see, the application is working fine. Click listeners are working fine, and also as you can see, and also there's something missing. We need to add the centimeters in here. For that, let's go to the progress, and we add a progress changed in here. String dot format, but before running our application, let's go to activity main.html. In here we need to change the value of this text view to the value of the sequel. For that, we give the value of 150 centimeters, and that's all. Let's come back to activity main.html. Now it's working on. Now let's check our application. As you can see, now it's working fine. When we click on the calculate, okay, there is a problem. Let's see what's the problem. Okay, there is a problem. As you can see, we are getting the text. As you can see in here, we are getting the text of the text view, and it contains centimeter with our value, so that is why it's giving an error. And the simplest way to solve this problem would be to change this. Instead of let's give the sequel value dot get progress, and it will solve our problem. And now let's run our application. Now our application is launched, and let's check. As you can see, our application is running smoothly. Now the last thing we need to do before completing our application and publishing into Play Store is to change the icon of our dialog view based on the result, and also we need to change the class, and also we need to add some suggestions or tips inside this text view, and we will finish our application. And now let's go to the main activity, and in here we will start finalizing our dialog view. Okay guys, now let's start building our custom dialog, and we will be displaying different custom dialogs based on our BMI value, and we will going to use this BMI chart. If it's less than 18.5, we will display underweight. If it's between 18.5 and 24.9, it will display normal, and if it's above 25, we will display overweight. And if you want to add this obesity class, you can add it. And so go to we will go to our application. In here, first thing what we need to do is to check if our BMI value is less than 18.5. We will show our custom dialog, and we will create this custom dialog inside our main activity, and we will cut all of these lines of code, and we will paste it inside our custom dialog. And in here we will pass 3 parameters. First would be the image that will be displaying the overweight, underweight, or normal weight, and also the title, and also some tips. And you can add more tips if you want, but we will simply add a few tips, or maybe 1 or 2. And for that, what we need to do is let's go to our custom dialog. First thing what we need to do is to add an ID to our image view, and we give an ID of image, and also we need to remove this source from here, and give this text view an ID which already have a result title and also tips. So let's go to the main activity, and we will add 3 icons for displaying the overweight, underweight and normal weight. And from here we'll grab these icons, Ctrl C, come back to your application, in the drawbar right click, and in here paste your icons. Okay, refactor. Okay, and in here we will pass 3 parameters. Okay, the first thing we need to pass is the image ID. For that, dot drawbar dot underweight, and for the second we will pass the underweight title, and for the third one what we will pass is the tips. And for the tips we just simply will pass a simple message for now, and if you're gonna improve the application and want to add more suggestion and tips, you can add it. Let's just use some and we will be displaying this simple message, and you can improve it more, and you can have more suggestions. And inside our show custom dialog we will get the parameters from here. And now what we need to do is to get the reference for our image view and also our 2 text views. What we need to do is to create an image view with the name of image view, which is equals to find view by id r.id image the id that we have added to our image view image. And also we will get the reference for our text view, result title, and also tips. Text view, we say the result title, which is equals to find view by id r.id dot result title. And in the same way we will create another text view with the name of tips, which is equals to find view by id r.id dot tips. And now we have the reference to our image view, result title, and also tips. So the values that are coming from our show BMI method, we will set those values to our image view, text view, tips text view, and also result title. Okay, we have the image view dot set image resource, and we will pass the id to that. And for the second one, which is the result title dot set text, and we will add the pass the title. And for the third one, which is the tips, tip dot set text, and we will pass the tip. Now that we are done, we will do the same thing for our normal weight and also overweight. And for that, what we need to do is else if our BMI value is greater than 18.5 and our BMI value is less than 24.9, then what we will do, this would be for our normal weight. We will pass the normal weight icon, and for the title we will say normal weight. And for the tips, whatever tip that you want to add, we simply say you are healthy. And the third one would be the overweight, and we simply use the else. And for the icon we'll pass the overweight icon. For the title we say that you're overweight, and for the tips we say do some exercise. And now we're gonna run our application and check that everything is working fine. Okay guys, now let's check the first one between 830 and weight 100 kilogram and height of 150. Calculate. Okay, there is a problem. We need to check the error. Okay, as we can see, there is a null object reference for our image view. Let's go to our image view, find value by ID, custom dialog. Let's change the ID to image view, and also in the main activity, instead of image, let's go to image view. Okay guys, sorry for that, I've forgotten to put the view in here, which would be this view. Ctrl C, Ctrl V, view.find view by ID. Since we are using our custom dialog and we are creating a view from this custom dialog, we need to use the view. That's why this is giving error. Now let's run our application, and this will hopefully working fine. Guys, the last thing we need to do is to change the segport.get progress divide by 100. We need to change the data type of this to double, and also we need to change the get value from int to double, and in here we convert get I into get I to int, since we're gonna need the int value of this. And after multiplying the get I to get I, we convert it to int, and then we divide the weight to that int value, and we will take the BMI value of that into int form. Now let's run our application. Our application is launched. Let's check first with these values. It says overweight. We do some exercises. Now let's decrease our weight value from 100 to maybe 40. Now let's check, calculate. It says it's a normal weight and you are healthy, and okay guys, before finishing our application and launching to in the Play Store, we need to add our application icon. For that, what we need to do is to go to the map, right click, new, and then create an image asset. In the image asset we have two types of icon, for the legacy and for the adaptive and legacy. We will choose the adaptive and legacy. It will work fine for the API level 23 and above, and for the API level 22 and below. And we have two layers for the adaptive and legacy icon type, the foreground and the background. For the foreground, we will choose our icon, this icon. If it doesn't show, what you need to do is from here you can choose the path where you have stored your icon. You have stored in here, okay, and then it will show in here, and from here you can trim, you can resize. And for the background, what we need to do is to choose a background for our icon. We choose this color, and then after that next, and then finish. After we have added our icon to our application, what we need to do is to go to the build and then clean your project. And after your project is cleaned, what you need to do is to come to the build, and from here we will generate a signed bundle or APK. For now we will create the APK, and then next. And in here we need to create a store path, and for that, if you have already have a key store path, you can choose you can add that, or you can create a new one. We will create a new key store path, and we will choose the path, and we will give a name to our path, our keys to path. And then OK, and after that we need to give a password. You need to add the first name and last name, organization unit, organization locality, and also your country code for the certificate. Okay, now that the keys to path is generated, click next, and in here you need to select the destination that you're gonna save your APK file. Choose a folder. Okay, and you need to select the release, and also in the signature version you need to select the both version 1 and version 2. If you have selected one of them, it will not work. And after that, finish, and it will start building the Gradle. And after the Gradle is built, it will give you a message that your application package is generated. And now, as you can see, and the Android Studio generated the signed APK. The APK generates successfully your module BMI calculator.app with build version 1. Now that we have built our APK file, now let us publish this APK file to the Play Store. And now let's publish our application into the Play Store. The first thing you need to do is to open the Play Store console. If you have already have a Play Store account. If you do not have any Play Store account yet, and you don't know how to create a Play Store account, in the next video I will be showing you a step-by-step guide on how to create your account in the Play Store. For now, let's go to the Play Store console. Now, in order to add our application, the first thing you need to do is to go in here, create an app, give the app name. We'll give the BMI, and after that the default language, English United States, we leave it as default. App or game, we choose app. It's a paid or free. It's a free application. You need to take this developer program policies, and then use export loss, and then create app. Come to the private information about your app and set up your store listening, and then app access. All functionality is available without a special access. Save, and then back to dashboard, and then go to ads, and we will be adding ads or monetization to our application. So for that we will choose yes, our application contains ads. In the next video I will teach you how to add monetization to your application. Save, and back to dashboard, and then content rating, start questioning, and you need to give your email address. You need to choose the category. We choose the utility, and then next. Violence, does the app contains violence materials? No. No. Language violence? No. Controlled substance? No. Promotion of age restricted products? No. Miscellaneous? No. Does the app share the user account physical location? No. Does the app allow the user to purchase digital goods? No. And for those also no. And then save, and then next. This is the content rating. We submit, and go back to the dashboard and targeted audience. We choose three of them, and then next. This one is no. Next, and then save. Come back to the dashboard, and in here news app. Is your application in news app? No. Save. Come back to the dashboard. Now we need to choose a category for our application. It's an app, and for the category we choose since it is a health and fitness application, we choose the health and fitness. And after that we need to add the tags, and the tags would be used in the search engine while the user is searching for the application. Okay, health and fitness, apply. We need to give the our email address, and the phone number and website is not necessary, and then save. Go back to the dashboard, set up your store listing, app name, a short description we need to give, and a full description for our application, design, and for the description for description we will pass this. And first of all we need to add the app icon. For the graphics, the size should be 512 and by 512. And we need to add a promo image with the size of 1024 to 500, and click on upload for the promo image. Okay, and now we need to add the screenshots of our application. I have 3 screenshots. Okay, we will add the full screenshots, and we will do the same for the 7-inch tablet. And for the 10-inch tablet I'll do the same, but if you want you can change the screenshot for the tablet size, and you can use different size of images. And if you have a promo video or something like that, you can add the link into here. And then we are done in here. What you need to do is to save. Now go to the dashboard. Now we are finished in here. Let's go to the publish your app, select countries and regions, add countries and regions. We will select all, and then add countries, add, and from here create a new release, and in here continue, and from here we'll select our APK file, and then OK. As you can see, the application is uploaded into the Play Store. File type, version, API level, target SDK, screen layout, and all details are displayed in here. Release name and distro. And if you want to add a release note, you can add in here, and then save. And after that, review release. There are 2 warnings but no errors. For now, let us just ignore these warnings, and then start rollout to production, and then rollout. And now your application is in the review, as you can see in the dashboard. As you can see in the apps, the newly uploaded APK is in here and in the review. It will take some time for the Google to review our application, and after that it will be go live into the production.